Yep. Ready to start the stream. Where's those sound effects? We better use the dial-up modem today. See if we can get a connection on Earthlink. They still have Earthlink?
Tony Caravan. You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road.
And we're ready for another show. Got it. Almost. Close. Close but no cigar.
Making up the rules as we go along.
You betcha.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
And my seat has decided to fall down before I even start the show. Before I even start the show. It's hot in here. It's really weird colorization, dark and all that stuff because it's 3:56 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the former United States on the calendar year August 22nd, 2021. We're living in the future, folks. Got my San Diego, California hat on to go along with the title card today, which apparently I have not placed. Where are that? There we go. Placed. Now, we should be able to see his title card. Where's that title card? Where's that title card? What did I just change that shouldn't have been changed? We'll discover something ridiculous in a short period of time. There we go. That's our title card. All right. And there's a couple of girls on the end there, so I don't want those to get knocked off, which means I have to move over just a tad, which again is very uncomfortable for me. I'm going to turn this off and figure out what the heck did. That's a washer and dryer. Image of the day. We don't need to see that depressing stuff. What did I change accidentally? Photography? Surfer fun. Yeah, photography. Surfer fun. Okay. Well, anyway, you see the surfers, the San Diego surfers. Wouldn't it be great if we all went back to just having fun? You know, really, the title of this show is Life is to Enjoy. And a big howdy to anyone who is deciding to tune in at this ungodly hour. One playback, and I apologize for that clearing of the throat. I found this. I don't know whose photo this is. I'd like to say it's mine, but I found this on some girl on Minds. You know, people post photos and they get like photos posted and reposted, like pictures of dogs or pictures of things. And I had all these people. I don't know if you were on Minds, even know that there's a site called Minds. Anyway, I noticed that in recent weeks, there's been this flurry of people following me. Okay. And so I usually, I'll follow somebody back, subscribe. You subscribe to their channel. They call it there. It's a little bit different, but it's not, it's kind of like YouTube, but it's not, it's not like YouTube, but the subscribe idea, but it's not like all that means is they're going to show up in your scroll somehow. Anyway, to make a long story longer, they all seem to have like a lot of repetitive photos in their things. This is this thing that even Tattoo, speaking of San Diego and surfing, Tattoo, if you're watching this on the playback, was something he had mentioned to me. Tattoo, of course, the legendary Tattoo. And he has a channel on YouTube. You should check it out. Just Tattoo. And he mentioned something about these people that like repost videos and, I guess steal content or grab content or whatever. And then somehow they end up getting 12,000 hits or something like that. And guys like us, Tattoo at least had a dozen on his last or one of his recent posts. Mine was something like 3, I think, on yesterday's video. Three. So anyway, I was looking through all these photos that, some people were, various sites and stuff on Minds, and I was trying to find the source, the original source. And I'm looking at this one that I've used on the title card today. I mean, if somebody knows who it is, I'll, let me know and I'll give them credit. But this is obviously somebody took this with a camera back in the 60s. I mean, that's classic. That's California, man. Look at that. I mean, that's pretty wild. And that is the 60s. And I guess there might have been a surfer, some kind of semi-competition going on, because you see that scaffolding. I'm going to enlarge this for those viewing on a small screen. You see there's a scaffold at some point there. Maybe that's a lifeguard, because there's a megaphone kind of thing there. So I don't know if there was somebody sometimes they used to have these little surfing competition things, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Could just be makeshift lifeguard stand, or just people just put up a scaffold to check out the surfers. But there's a lot of surfers out there in the same spot. So I don't know. Who knows what's going on? And a little makeshift shack where all the surfer shack there with a no left turn sign. It's pretty wild. But look at the cars. When I first saw this, I thought, oh, these are like abandoned cars and stuff. And it's like, no, it's not. It's just the way they're just all pulled in and doors open and things hanging out the trunk and stuff. Keeping them aired out because of the heat probably too. But yeah, look at those vehicles. It's crazy, man. As they would say in the 60s. Crazy. But wouldn't it be great if we all went back to just having fun? And let's not even pretend. I'm assuming I'm broadcasting live. Yeah, streaming. Excellent connection. But I'm not even talking about when this thing, because the past year and a half, 2 years, have been absurd. Coming up on 2 years. But, things have been getting progressively bad for a while. Here's what I look like without glasses on. Of course, I'm squinting. I got to clean my glasses. My eyes aren't totally awake yet. Tried to go out in the sun yesterday, but it was miserably hot. I was going to, because I call this the worldwide webcast, I was going to try finding global weather or something like that. I was messing around with this browser thing, and my CPU was going up to 20. The thing was making noise. I could feel my computer, and it's warm, and it shouldn't be warm. I just started this whole mess up just a little while ago. I can't believe it, 4 a.m. in the U.S. that I'm doing this. I'm up and doing this show. But I feel a little bit better, more or less. We'll see how it goes as I progress. Who knows? Maybe I'm still asleep. Maybe it's a dream. A million toy soldiers will fade away, but a dream goes on forever. I think they were toy soldiers. It was a Todd Rundgren line. I got everything on my list at the grocery store yesterday, though, and I was able to walk. I made it, on my feet. For those who follow this show, because I think it's the same couple of people who check in and check out. It's like the Roach Motel. Those things don't work, trust me. Trust me. There's these signs posted all over the place. Today's going to be kind of a freeform show, I believe. I think. I don't know.
Hello. 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 Hello.
There's these signs on the street I think I mentioned once before. And yeah, it is too early to talk. That's why I've got the raspy voice. Excuse me, pardon me. But they say we buy houses, any condition, and there's some phone number. Like 4-5 something or 454. I don't know what it is. It's like it's no area code around here. And I was thinking, maybe I'll sell my house. Try to sell it for what I only owe $7,000 on my house, I think, or something weird like that. Maybe I'll sell my house, pay it off, and then just buy another one. Then I don't have to worry about fixing the roof or bugs. I'll go into a new place, and before I go in, I'll just totally have the place perfectly set up the way I want it to. The other idea I had, this friend of mine is trying to sell his pizza shop. Of course, he wants like $300,000 for it. It's worth it, but it comes with like a 2-bedroom apartment above it. And the place, it's basically one of those turnkey operations. I mean, it makes enough money. The price he's not, usually when you sell a business, you sell it for multiples of what what you bring in. And he's selling it for about what he brings in a year. So it's almost, you just hit the ground running as long as you can get the note, be able to buy it. But running a business, and I'm done. Those days are over. But I thought, well, at least I'd have a place to live upstairs, and I guess I could just manage the place. But then managing people, and who knows what the economy is going to be like. The idea is that I think it's just a matter of just having fun. Because what I was saying before is that, it's been getting progressively weird. Somebody came on and then they left. Chicken. They come on for something. They see a title card, I guess. Life is to enjoy. Howdy was my opening chat. Wouldn't it be great if we all went back to just having fun? But yeah, like I'm saying, it's kind of been progressively getting weird and weirder. Things fell. The 90s were, to me, the 90s were fun. I had fun in the 90s. I had fun like much earlier than that. But it was like the 90s was the last time it was really a good time. I guess I had some good times in the early parts of the 2000s or so. And on and off. Over the past, even fairly recently. But just in general, you have to basically, it's like this picture. if you're into surfing, if you're into doing, stuff outdoors, enjoying yourself, you just got to do it, man. You got to find a place to do it. And the idea that and you just got to forget about all of this authoritarianism and all this, this weird rules and regulations and all that stuff, and find a place that's, if you're able, I know a lot of people aren't able, they're like trapped more or less in some situation, in order to sustain themselves. But if you have any sense of where you are mobile or the potential to be free, are they calling it like this nomad life or something? I think there's even a movie out about that, or a documentary. I didn't see it, but I heard somebody talking about it on something. But that it's the idea, even if it gets old after a while, right? Like if you watch Hannah Lee Dugan, she goes on her van trip every winter or so, goes south. She's one hot tamale, right? Hot cookie. But then she's bought this cabin type of place and hangs out there, I mean, that would be the ideal, right? To have yourself a van that you could crash in, not necessarily a full, some people have these things where it's like they put so much stuff into it that it's basically a house. It's like, not that. The ideal would be to just have a van that you can crash in, but you need a base of operations. And so, the cabin in the woods or some place that's so cheap that you can maintain it, and so you could be away from it for half the year if you feel like traveling or going somewhere and you have to worry about it. And if you got a pet, then you got to make sure that it's a pet that you can travel with, because that's another problem. Pets hold you to a place. Especially like cats. Like my cat. It doesn't go outside, so it's totally dependent upon me, for everything. So I could load up the food bowl and make sure there's enough water there for a little while. But I mean, the thing is just freak out. Then you had the litter box, and that kind of thing. So it's like, you can't really go. I felt guilty going to the ER a couple of days ago. I was thinking, what do I do if they admit me overnight? So I put extra food in the cat's bowl and stuff. But anyway, I don't want to get on a downer. The idea is that you have to find a way to beat these guys. And it's not a matter of, first thing comes to mind in a lot of people is beat them at their own game or politics. I mean, I deleted about the amount of spam I'm getting, but it's all political from both parties. I was going to save it and scroll through it and show it, on the show, but it's like, why even give them the free publicity? I mean, literally every day. I mean, and today's, this is a Sunday. And usually Sundays were real slow spam days. I used to notice, not anymore. It's like every day. Spam. All political stuff. Politicians, both sides. All sides. Right? Regional, national, global. It's insane. Which I haven't done in a while. Where's that thing? Do I still have it?
This is insane. This is insane.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my theory. If you could stay healthy, that's the thing, you know. I keep getting stricken down with like weird things. And then I've gone to you go to the doctor, or if you can't, I can't get, my doctor's never around. So you end up in like a ER, go to the hospital, ER, emergency room or something. I mean, that's what they tell you to do. You get these symptoms that are like not like simple things. I don't go running to the doctor if I catch a cold or something like that. I usually weather out a lot of things, personally. But, when you're like, you can't keep your balance and you're dizzy or something, something freaky like that, you want to get checked out. And so, man, over the past, so like this week, I went through that nonsense. I hope I'm beating it, whatever it is. Like I say, yesterday, at least I walked like 1.5 miles. Went to the grocery store, trudged back up, was sweated, was perspiring. It's humid. Last night was humid. Was outside for a little while yesterday, but I didn't feel too well yesterday during the day. But I just laid around all day, and I'm up super early. But, I was pretty much laying around for 12 hours, if you think about it, since yesterday afternoon. I wasn't sleeping, but I was just like doing nothing. And that's what they say, rest helps, right? So we'll see how this day goes. I guess I'll know. But like 3 weeks ago, it was something else. I'm trying to remember what. Oh, it was like pain in my back and stomach, weirdness. I thought, And it's like, so it's like, what, once a month you get stricken down with something? I don't know what the heck's going on with that. And I haven't even, as far as I know, I haven't had the thing. I did have a test for it last year and I was negative. Probably the only person in the world that tested negative, from what I hear of the test. But like, as long as you could you're somewhat healthy, you just got to enjoy life. You just got to find a way to have fun and just like be in that mindset and stay in that mindset. That's why I say you got to get away from the media and all that. Because they're just trying to bring you down for a living, really, for a living. They're profiting on stressing out people. Like I said, I couldn't go. The hospitals were overcrowded here. I thought, that was a myth. In fact, I talked about it 3 weeks ago, saying there was nobody there at all. But since they've been putting on the full court press, ambulance pulls up and says, "Where do you want to go?" I said this before. And I go, "Well, the hospital." And they're like, "Well, the local hospital's not taking anybody. So you got your choice of these places that were like a half hour, 45 minutes away." This is like an ambulance. And you wait for the ambulance to get here. Like, what if you're like, bleeding out or something? All because they're filled with people who got the sniffles and think they, It is so hot in here. I guess I'm going to have to turn the air conditioner on and play that game. So I will. The air conditioner's right over there. It's only going to take a second. It's either that or I take the shirt off, and that'll just freak people out. I realized I said it was just over there, but I went in the kitchen because I had the kitchen window open, so I don't want to air condition the backyard. now I got back on. I had the seat all set up somewhat normally because it's like this makeshift seat to be comfortable. I'm back. So.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Yeah, he's Tony Caravan alive still, right? Amazing. You know, they keep giving me CT scans and irradiating me. So I guess eventually, I mean, you know, I've had an MRI a year and a half ago or more. Prior to that, chest x-rays, another CT scan. Actually, 2 CT scans. I have so much radiation in me that I should have superpowers. I probably glow in the dark. You know? But I don't know. When I see this picture that I've got up, you know, the title card picture, and again, I'll enlarge it for people looking on a small device. Though for the life of me, I can't imagine people that watch YouTube on a smartphone. It just seems so weird. But, yeah, you know, people hanging out in the sun. Just, you know, surfing USA, you know. If everybody had a surfboard, you know. So why do these, you know, it's like that, I forget, it was one of the guys from the Eagle had an album, a solo album out. It was called No Fun Allowed. I think I even posted an image of it. In fact, I'll see if I could find it because I don't know if it's under No Fun Allowed. I'll have to do a search. Let's see. No Fun. Let's just see what comes up. Okay, No Fun Allowed. No Fun Allowed here. That's good enough. Yeah. We'll just, oops. There we go. No fun. No fun allowed, man. I mean, that's what they're kind of, excuse me, that's what they're kind of saying. No fun allowed here. So that same spot that we're looking at from back in the 60s. There's probably a sign posted there, you know. No trespassing. It's freaking August, hot August here. I'm not going to do the weather I mean, it's like, well, weekend weather. I got all those great things. That's why I kind of like doing the weather. Somebody just left. But maybe they were waiting for the weather. It says it's 64 degrees outside, which means having that window open, it should have been like, I shouldn't have to put the air conditioner on. So I'm going to have to get up at some point and turn it off because I figure it's got to get cold, ice cold in here. It's still showing the moon behind the clouds on my personal weather forecast. It's going to get up to a high of 81 degrees today. It's supposed to be cloudy the whole day long. There's that storm Henri that's supposed to hit New York. And then it's going to be 80s, you know, progressively getting hotter and hotter and hotter till by Thursday of this coming week, it'll be close to 90. And thunderstorms, of course, once it starts getting up there. Anyway, that's the weekend weather. You know, and of course this is weekend, which used to be like, you know, bring joy. So let me see what happened. I'll check this, and if it's significant, I'll bring it onto the screen. So let's go to national. You can't see what I'm doing. I tried my darndest this morning to get this Henri expected to make landfall. This is yesterday. See, what the internet is. And so it's like some pop-up. You've been selected. Forecast. Hurricanes. All right, here we go. Atlantic. Tropical cyclones and disturbances. I'll tell you, this is so pathetic. Probable wind speeds, flash flooding. Question is, what do we want? Okay, let's see. I'm going to the National Weather Service, right? And I'm trying to get something to find out what's going on right now. All right, this is the National Weather Service, okay? And everything is like from yesterday, for 105 days from 8 p.m. EDT Saturday, August. No, this is the National Weather Service, so this should be like live, right? I should be able to show you folks something. As of Sunday, August 22nd, I can give you a readout on this because that's a mouse over thing, which I can't do on this with this program. Maximum sustained winds 65 knots, 75 miles per hour. Located, it's like the coordinates aren't going to help you. Moving north at 21 miles per hour. Now, this is NHA issuing advisories for the Atlantic. Marine warnings are in effect for the Atlantic. So I guess they've turned on the super secret steering things that they have, because this thing was supposed to hit New York. And there's one here, Henri heading towards southern New England and Long Island, a dangerous storm surge. As of 2 a.m. Sunday, let's see here. I can't find any satellite pictures, on the National Weather Service. And when I click on Hurricane Henri, I get these cartoony, illustrations. So let's go back to home. Can I go home? Is this home? What is this? Tropical satellite imagery. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Atlantic views. Animated GIF. That one cut doesn't give you high enough. Atlantic views. North, let's see. I'm sorry about this. If I can pull the right image, it's as if they're hiding the Northeast. I'll show you the absurdity of this. Okay. Because it's funky. It really is kind of funky what they have available. All right. But wait till you see. So I'll go with news. We don't need to see the washer and dryer. Desktop. All right, I'm going to bring this up. So here is, well, I don't know what happened with that. I guess so. You have to look at the very top of the screen. So this is a NOAA satellite image from right now. You can see like the lights, down in the southeastern U.S., but I couldn't find anything further north. So you can just see those clouds up top, and you can see, look at the sun coming over to the right, the sun rising. See that? Over the planet. These people that like think the world is flat. The world, she's a flat. Down, not a lot of lights down in South America. You see that? The U.S., you see a lot of lights. And those would just be like, basically, this is nighttime, early morning. But I mean, this is like street lights. How it's interesting. Now, I really wish... It's kind of cool, to see this image. Let me turn that off. Save some CPU. And if you don't mind not seeing you're seeing my face now, but if you don't mind me looking like, staring into space. Let's see if I could find satellite image. They've got... that's the radar. That's useless. National Weather Service. Well, no, NOAA. Let's go to NOAA. NOAA Hurricane. NOAA Henri. Let's see what they got. National Hurricane Center. It's the same cartoony stuff. I'm telling you, man. NOAA satellite imagery. Latest satellite imagery, National Hurricane Center. Okay. Now. Products. General imaging. Loop. August 22nd at UTC time. I'm looking at the U.S. Just, it's not, I can't, it's not high res. No. I'm trying to get you guys a loop that is, substantial enough so you could actually see what the hell's going on. So let me try this again. Let's go to News, Browse, and we'll put the other one in. Goes. No. This one. Okay, so this is supposed to be animated, but it's not. Why isn't it? Maybe I didn't wait for the full one to load. Shucks. Shucks. Well, anyway, this show is a trip. Up at the very top of the globe, you can see, the lights of the United States, former United States of America. And there's this big white, cloudy thing over top of there. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try one more time. So bear with me. New window. And National Weather Service. Let's go to history. Latest satellite imagery. All right. Atlantic views. Visible animated GIF. That's useless. animated GIF. They're not showing. It's like they're hiding this from us. Like, why? All right, so now I'm going to try to bring this over. Get rid of that. I'm going to go to the news. I'm going to replace this. $678. 710 I'm looking for. 710, this one. All right, let's see if this one animates for us. It's not animating. But it is an animation. Man, I'll tell you. So, in any event, I was trying to if you look at the upper portion of the screen, you can see that big white thing off to the northeast, and that apparently is this Henri thing. But technology is so like whacked, you know? It's so whacked for being, this is, I know I sound like a broken record, but I mean, for it being 2021, and all these government sites and all these bureaucrats, it's like, who's working there? What are they doing? They had this animated GIF that I did show you before, but it was like, it cuts off. The only thing everyone's interested in right now, my coffee cup is ice cold, so because the air conditioner's on and it's like sliding through. The only thing anybody would be interested in right now is to look at this is to see that animated GIF I showed you before of this actual thing, especially anybody living in North Jersey, Long Island, New York City, Boston, up New England. I was curious to see how it was what's curving into further in. How's it going to affect like the mid-Atlantic states and stuff like that? But I mean, this kind of thing, is like, yeah, okay, and it's not like I could zoom in on this because, well, first of all, this was supposed to be animated, so it was supposed to be in motion. I can enlarge it, but it just becomes pure distortion. And the thing is, it's really cool. This would be cool because on the right-hand side literally is the sun coming on the planet, into view, sunrise. And you can see the lights. This is a pretty interesting composite. But the one that was animated, which I'll bring out, I didn't delete it. Let's see. Here. Let me pull that up for you. I'll tell you, these computers, I am so fed up with my computer, you cannot imagine. Come on, there. All right. See, I'm showing you that there's a gap at the top. That's as far as it goes. So this is what the NOAA, National Weather Service, is offering us. All right. There's no like North Atlantic. This is the Atlantic animation. What a bunch of clowns. What a bunch of clowns. I'm going to try this one more time because I'm curious myself. And besides, no, one person watching. You're probably interested in figuring this out too. Let's try one more time. Okay, let's go. NOAA satellite imagery. All right, I'm going to the official latest satellite imagery. www.nhc.noaa.gov. Satellite. That's the site. All right? And this is National Hurricane Center. All right, I wish I could show you this page, but I can't because of this limited frickin' technology that I'm about ready to whatever. And so here it has Atlantic views, Atlantic wide view. Well, that GIF that I showed you a little while ago, right? Let me see here. I may have found another way of getting it. Let's see if I can get this as a GIF. All right. All right, stand by. Like Hal said, one moment, please. One moment, please. Yeah, but Hal, you lied, man. Okay. All right, this is an exclusive. All right. Tony Caravan live. I'm going to shrink this just a tad because, not that I need, because I want to show the Atlantic, and I want to get it clear as possible. Yeah, this is good. Crystal clear. Finally, it took me all that time to do this. I can't believe it. All right, so.
The Weather Watch forecast.
Okay. You know?
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
All right, so this apparently is the latest satellite imagery, which took me half hour to find. I guess they cater to like the Weather Channel or the networks, you know. Though it's our tax money, you know, the whole idea is that we should be able to get this ourselves. You know, we're paying for it. We're paying the salaries. It's like politicians. It's like, you know, we pay Nancy Pelosi's salary. I was going to say salad. I'm a goofball, man.
Hello. Hello.
All right, we're going to look at this for a little while because this is kind of interesting and fascinating. You know, you can see down in, you know, this is pretty. This is a recent animation taken within, you know, within the last several hours. Okay, and I would say within the last hour or so. You know, it might even be less than that. You know, the end piece of it. And you can see this thing just like flurrying up and kind of exploding. Now, once the sunrise hits, which isn't for almost another hour and a half or so, then that's when you're going to, you know, you'll see even more craziness. Now, you can see the clouds going over to all over New Jersey, into northeast, almost into central Pennsylvania. And it almost looks like those, you know, what do they call them? Noctilucent clouds up top there. It looks up north. They look like they're like those light lit clouds, but I think that's just some kind of satellite effect. But anyway, that's Henri, so it's pretty much is Long Island is definitely going to get hit, and I don't know what, I'm not going to go, you know, this isn't a weather channel, so. But what you're seeing is that depending on when high tide is in Long Island, you know, and that part, and, you know, when you come into, whenever you have an area where water is forced into a smaller area, like you see that little area like, you know, in North Jersey, next to Long Island, you know, these inlets, whatever you want to call it, you know, those places, if you happen to time like a storm surge with high tide, you know, it's really crazy. But for me, what's really neat about this, I mean, not that this storm, I mean, hopefully anyone who's out there on the tip of Long Island, you're like prepared and all that. Now, as far as I know, it was 70 miles per hour when the last time I noticed it. So, that's not devastating. I mean, that could knock down things, and you don't want to be out or near the coastline looking at this thing. But, it's at best, it's category 1 hurricane or tropical, or just at that level. But what's fascinating, I should say, are the lights. And so those lights that you see, this is because, this was like from 4 a.m., maybe 3 to 4 a.m., about an hour or so ago. I'm thinking that's this satellite image. They're usually fairly good. Usually at 4:30s when they do a lot of their posting. But I'm saying, I think this one's a little bit older than that. Because I saw the sun was just like rising, was too far away when I was looking at the global image of this. So I'm saying 3-ish, but I'm babbling. But so if you go down to, say, the Carolinas, you could look at the draw of the clouds like that are being pulled up towards this thing. That's fascinating too. But it's also interesting to see how many people are concentrated, because these lights are basically just like street lights. Look at the population. Yeah. I mean, you could see in West Virginia, it's like, just like in, around the major cities, but you see like nothing, right? But then you look at like a state like Ohio, and that place is like pretty well lit. And you definitely see how the coasts, coastal areas are definitely. See, to me, that's as fascinating as this storm. But yeah, this thing's pulling an awful lot. This thing's fairly powerful because it's pulling all that moisture up. So like the center of circulation, like you really almost can't see in this image, because you have to really go look at the Carolinas and Virginia and see how all those clouds seem to be coming, going east and then turning up into this thing, because supposedly there's like a low pressure system out like Pittsburgh, West Virginia area, and what that's doing is that's causing all of this circulation to come, westward. So it's like circulating westward. It'll be very interesting to see what happens when the sun rises in about an hour or so. Very interesting. It's fascinating, You don't get this everywhere. It's
The Weather Watch forecast.
Well, it's not really a forecast. You could see it's pretty clear in the mid-Atlantic states. So that's where I am. So, like I said before, I don't think things have changed. In my neck of the woods, it's still like 64 degrees outside. It's going to be that way till about 8 a.m. It goes up to 66. I got the AC on. I'm going to turn the AC off while you're looking at this map, and then then we'll get back to the show. Well, this is part of the show. I mean, this is the news of the day. You're seeing it live on, Tony Caravan Live, right? So
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
sorry about that, folks. Had to leave. Turn the AC off. I guess I need to move myself over here every time I move and deal with the chair. puts me in a different location. And I guess we'll keep this up over top of the surfer thing for a little while. It's kind of interesting though, isn't it? You know? So anyone can be a broadcaster. Too bad nobody watches these shows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off for right now. We'll just get back into some talk, and then we'll check back in and see if they update that before the show's over. All right? So stay tuned. And if you're out there in Long Island, hunker down. Because it certainly is not going to be the same. Well, actually, it'll be good surfing. The waves are going to be like pretty high, but you don't want to go out, with the storm surge, and then you get that. Watch out for the undertow. But it will bring in some crazy waves, probably, which will, once the storm passes, there'll be some nutty surfers out there. I mean, it's summertime. So keep that in mind. So once the sun comes out and the winds pass, the ocean is still going to be shaken up like crazy, and there's going to be some nice waves. So I'm sure there's going to be people out there trying to catch a wave. Just if you are, be careful. But then again, surfers are pretty careful. They know the water better than, better than landlubbers. My coffee's warm. I mean, like cold almost. I was drinking iced coffee for a while, but I quit that because it was like, wasn't working. So anyway, back to this idea, no fun allowed, This one says here, but just as well. Everything you know is wrong, of course. But yeah, why not? What if we just decided to just go back to having fun? Screw them. In other words, these crazy authoritarians and these bureaucrats, right? Because that's what's running. The world's being run by bureaucrats now. This country's being run by bureaucrats. Because that's why I call it a corporatocracy. Like a lot of people don't, they get confused, I think, when I say about what I really mean. You have to have lived and worked in Washington like I did in Capitol Hill. And you have to also have been in a corporate environment. All right? You have to have done both to understand that what a bureaucracy is and what bureaucrats are. In other words, you have big corporations, right? Like these, even like AT&T. Like people. I was watching this thing the other day, and like AT&T. And I used to tell people this years ago, before the internet was even the internet. I can remember standing around like a keg, at a keg party. A couple of guys, a bunch of people standing around a keg, and I was telling these guys, this is years ago, all right? And I was telling them, I'm saying, AT&T's, is like keeping all the information from your phone calls and all that stuff like that. And they're just sifting through that, and the NSA, this, that, the other. And people were, a couple people were interested in it, people that were getting half baked. But it's like, they have been. That's the whole thing. That's their thing. Data collection, information, they want to know everything. But, and they're bureaucrats. That's what they do. And so you got all these people, and they're all tasked with these certain things to do, and they're monitoring this, monitoring that. I forget how many people actually work for groups like that, but it's between the contractors, it's like over 100 to 200,000 people are basically involved in surveillance. And that's just like one agency, you know? So, you know, at any given time, if you put in like big tech, and that scared somebody away. If you put in big tech and, you know, and the various alphabet agencies, you know, you might have 1 million people whose jobs, I mean, at least whose jobs it is to just monitoring, you know, just being nosy people, basically. And so maybe that's the best way to look at it. That's why I say, you know, this is like they're like the nosy neighbor. So instead of thinking him as like invasion of privacy, don't think it's no more of an invasion of privacy than a nosy neighbor is what it really amounts to, right? It's just that they're kind of reading your mail and listening in on your phone conversations and recording this thing. All of this stuff is digitally turned into, you know, text put into various directories on these server farms. And then they've got algorithms running and sifting through it to find keywords and stuff like that. And constantly like putting us into categorizing us and creating demographic profiles, all for the purpose of predictive behavior like in Minority Report. I mean, that's what's going on with that. But what I was trying to get across is, yeah, all that stuff. I mean, we've known that for years. And if you haven't known that for years, you've been hiding under a rock. You've just been a fool. But while this scene here of the surfers, okay, from the title card, they were spying on us back then. And so what were people doing then? They were out surfing and hanging out on the beach. Now you can argue and say, well, yeah, but they're restricting us from going to the beach. Well, you got to find a beach where you can go to. It's like, who was the guy? It was Rand Paul actually said, you know, they can't get us all, right? There's 330 million of us. I think some politician used the number 326 million. I don't know if that's what they've taken from the 2020 census or not. But approximately 330 million, because they always, you know, people don't get counted. I think it's actually higher than 330 million. But it's a good ballpark figure. So the point is you've got a couple of thousand of these so-called self-appointed ruling elitists, right? Who are, you know, think they're, you know, who are making these dictatorial commands, right? And then you've got the rest are just a bunch of bureaucrats, and they're either working for big tech, you know, in offices, basically just passing emails and meeting and talking about weird things and stuff. Or you've got these alphabet agencies where it's the same type of person. They're sitting in these various little cubicles and offices, and they're, you know, staring at computer screens or dealing with all this nonsense day in, day out. And they're basically people that just want to keep their job, don't want to ruffle any feathers, right? And want to stay there until they could get a pension so they could retire. And they want to go on their 2-week vacation, have their paid vacation days and stuff like that. And so at most, you know, like I say, it sounds crazy when I say there's 1 million people spying on you right now, right? Maybe more. You know, when you're involved in the spying business and not you in particular. So what? There's 330 million of us, right? And like, you know, the Davos set and all those people, it's like a couple thousand people. Think about it, right? These like so-called rulers, right? Rulers. So it's so ridiculous when you think about it. Politicians now, it's like the ruling class, right? Like they, you know, think, you know, like Washington now has suddenly become like as if it's, you know, the castle, right? You know. And if you notice that how quickly this country just turned. That's why I say it's a former United States. You know, they got the castle walls they're building up down there, and you know, and it's like, you know, it's laughable. it's like watching a bunch of junior high student council people. Literally, junior high people on student council. And they're just playing like, look at me, king of the mountain or something. So my thing is, let them, right? Let them. You know, it's funny. I was watching something where somebody was analyzing real estate, like the places where real estate, you know, where the market was hot, where the market wasn't hot. And it's like in the DC area, it's like nobody's buying, you know, it's not a buyer's market. I mean, it's like people are leaving. It's like New York and stuff. You know, these are not places people want to be even anymore. And that's, you know, that's like to me, that's a good sign. That's a sign that people are wising up and saying, you know what? Let these bureaucrats have their city on the hill, right? You know, I lived and worked in New York a couple of times. Had good friends and good times when I was up there living and working. But that was years ago. And now it's turned into, you know, it's like one of these people that live, you know, live at the hill, you know, the man in the high castle, you know, it's another Philip K. Dick story. But that's what it is, you know, that's DC, you know. And it's the same with, you know, with some of these other little dictators around, you know, in some other states around the country. And all of those areas where these little dictators are, and they're restricting people. We're not talking about normal, you know, safety and, you know, common sense stuff, right? No, we're talking about the little dictators, okay? You know, and the hypocrite dictators, which are even worse, that will make this edict, and then that very night they'll be caught violating the edict because they're above it, which makes you wonder, right? I still say, I don't know why, you know, why aren't we putting all of our effort into, you know, you remember, okay, I'm like all over the place right now, but first of all, people are moving away from these dictator-held castles, okay? Because you know, and they're finding places where they can have fun and live their life. Okay, that's fact number one. You see them, and they're moving down North Carolina, you know, Carolinas, Florida, parts of Texas, you know, Arizona, New Mexico, or some of the northern states or whatever. People are moving to places where they can just live their life if they're capable of having mobility, right? They're not stuck somewhere and, you know, broke and stuck in a place, right? Or tied to a place because of something, you know. You know, that's number one. And that's a good thing. And that's like, if you have that ability, that's what you do. It's kind of what I did. I mean, it's a trade-off. Because sometimes you end up in a place, you know, where I don't have like, there's not a good sense of community here because I don't really know, you know, I don't really know a lot of my neighbors. You know, it's just the way way this area is, you know, so it's different, you know, than, you know, you have to go out of your way to try to build community. Whereas before it was natural, you know, like the scene on the beach, you just go down to the beach, hang out, you're going to run into people and meet people and talk and have a good time. You know, or it's like people used to go to, you know, walk, you know, guy walks into a bar, you know, which was me. But yeah, you know, you have to get away, you know, you have to have fun. You have to focus on having fun and just getting away from these crazies. And it's been going on for a long, long time. It's not a new phenomenon. The idea of the ruling elite, it just got out. It got blown out of proportion, and was allowed to get to this, escalate to the point where we are right now, because people weren't listening to people like me. They weren't reading my books or listening to, those of us who were talking about this happening and coming along. And then suddenly they found themselves, oh, wow, it's a whole new country. It's a whole new world. It's a whole new existence. But we're stuck with it now. So that's it. This is like going forward, it's not going to change. And that's what I'm saying. So forget about that system, altogether. And, and find these places where you can, just have fun. I lost my trend of thought. I had like a real interesting idea. It's like I hate that. It's frustrating. I want to finish a thought, but this other like great thought comes to my mind, and then I spend this time finishing a thought, and then it's like, what was that other thought I was going to talk about? So, yeah, that kind of sucks. But doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. And for those who have tuned in, I guess I didn't realize Trey was on there. He said, best surfing in decades, all up and down the coast. All right. But, so yeah, get your surfboard. Wax your surfboard. Surfing USA, See the hat. I'd play some Beach Boys music, but then they'd take my video down. Ridiculous. So no fun allowed here. But, just my attitude with that is just to say screw you, right? Screw you. In other words, I think I know what I was trying to say. Okay, I got it back. I was trying to say they have these dictators, little dictators, have created these rules. It's like the media, the terms of service, right? I always say, Constitution giveth and the terms of service taketh away, right? So what you have to do is you have to play within the rules. So the rules of the game have changed, right? And a lot of people just won't accept that the rules of the game have changed, and that's that. They've reprinted the game box, okay? And the little booklet inside, or wherever the rules are, printed on the back side of the or the inside of the box when you open it up. Right? Like in an old game board. The rules of the game have changed. And there's people out there who just won't accept that the rules of the game have changed. And they're trying to play the game by the old rules. And they're wondering why it's just not working, and it's just chaotic. And people are just walking away from them, or whatever. It's just not, it's not happening, or they're losing the game. So learn the rules of the game. Look at and I think we know what the new rules of the game are. So once you're cognizant of the new rules of the game, then you can have fun, because you just have to play by the rules of the game. So what? They changed the rules. And some would say, well, they're going to keep changing them then if we adapt. But like I say, there's 330 million of us. eventually these people, these are bureaucrats. They just care about their jobs. So let Washington, D.C. and New York City and parts of California and different places, and let them even take over. It looks like they're taking over like Austin, Texas and places like that too now, you know, or trying to, you know. But let them do that. You know, the rules of the game have changed. It's a new, and they redesigned the game board, right? And you're trying to play, and they even changed some of the game pieces and the dice or whatever the thing is that you use to whatever, you know. I had like a wheeze in there or something. So it's that simple, I think. I think it's that simple. I think you just look, if you know the rules of the game, then play within the parameters of that game, and avoid these castle towns, right? At all costs, and eventually these castles will self-destruct. You know, when they talk about there being 10 million job openings, which I think there's probably about 20 million job openings, don't work for them, right? You know, it's funny about, you know, the ruling elite. You know, they need drivers. They need like their personal security teams. They need cooks. Right? And, you know, the sad part about it is there's always some poor sap that will, you know, lower themselves to be Nancy Pelosi's driver or, you know, or maid in her multi-million-dollar mansions or whatever. And groundskeepers and all these people that these people need to survive, clean their pools. What people in this country really need to do is to not service them anymore. Now, this may be the most important thing that anyone's come up with. And there's always a little jewel inside one of my videos. And sometimes it's just a simple little idea, concept, or a sentence. And I haven't had a really good one like this in a while. It took me an hour and 18 minutes to get to it. All right. So I hope people pay attention to this. It seems already a lot of people are moving away from these dictator cities, all right? Even states. But B, the most important thing, if you're stuck there in that area, don't compromise yourself and serve them in any way. See, their own system will work against them. What do they talk about all the time? Slavery, the U.S. is a slavery country, has enslaved people, right? Yeah, well, do you know who enslaved people in the U.S.? The same people who are in power today. The same big corporate and ruling elite. It was their ancestors that go back. My ancestors weren't even here during the Civil War, slavery. In fact, there were only some 40 million people in the U.S. I think it might have been 30 to 40. When slavery was at its peak, there was probably only about 30 million people in the U.S. And right now there's about 330 million, which means 300 million of us weren't here. Okay? And I mean people's ancestors, because the great migration, right, of most people who are here today, came in the late 1800s. You know, long after the Civil War, you know, had ended, Reconstruction was already, you know, happening, right? People came in the late 1800s, right? But so the people who've got to answer to that are like the ruling elite, because one of the things that a lot of those people are like proud of is that their ancestors, right, what came over on the Mayflower or something like that, right? So here's my point. They're not going to enslave you because that's their big, you know, talking point, right? It's total hypocrisy because they are the ones who are, you know, whose families have the legacy of that. It's just like, you know, these people that talk about civil rights and stuff, right? They are the biggest violators of it and the ones who voted for it. The same with the, you know, the guy who doesn't know where he is, who's in the White House, right? I mean, that guy's been literally caught, you know, saying such racist, bigoted remarks on video that are still out there. I mean, and in speeches that have been captured historically, you know, on the floor of the, you know, the Senate and whatnot. That, you know, it's a total hypocritical. So the idea is that here's what I'm saying: don't serve them. They're not going to they're not going to make you forced labor. So some people think that, right? You know, but don't even go down that avenue. That would be their total demise, because any base of support they would have would just turn them against it and would turn their media friends. They're being covered by the media. Remember I said it yesterday, it was a mediaocracy. That even though we're living a corporatocracy and we have a corporate media and the media is part of the corporatocracy, obviously, that there's still this idea that everyone, anytime someone speaks publicly, they're conscious of how it's going to be covered by the media. And so if these little dictators, you know, are not going to, you know, they pretty much they've pushed Americans to the limit right now. We're pushed to the absolute limit. People are pushed, you know, up against a wall. And so what I'm saying is you want to take this to the next level. You want to forget about, you know, save America, right? That way. No. They've destroyed this country, you know. I mean, they've like transferred all the wealth to themselves, gutted businesses. I mean, it's preposterous, it's absurd, it's insane, it's crazy what they've done. But they you know, they haven't broken us yet, right? And you know, living well is the best revenge, and that's what I'm saying. Wouldn't it be great if we all went back to just having fun? And what you have to do is find a place where you can have fun. And if that's in the confine, you know, and you've got to play by the rules of their game. They've changed the game board, they've changed the rules, they've changed the game pieces, they've changed everything, the funny money. So if they want to lock you down, then have fun in your house. If you've got a yard, have fun in your yard. You know, if you know a private park or private beach or something like that, go to it and have fun there. And if for some reason you're stuck in one of these areas, don't do slave type jobs for them. Because right now there's 20 million jobs available all over the country. So you could find work anywhere you want to. You really can. I mean, if you really look. So what if people stopped cooking for them What if Nancy Pelosi couldn't find somebody to vacuum her house and clean her toilet, her bathroom, mow her lawn, cook her meals, drive her to the airport, right? Okay? Pick up her dry cleaning, right? What if she couldn't find those people? And look at, who do you think's doing that? The very same people that don't really like her. Because the people who support people like Pelosi and these little, like who supported even Cuomo and these all these dictator type of people, de Blasio and stuff like that. Well, those people wouldn't want to stoop down and take jobs like that, right? They refuse to do that stuff. They think that's that's below them. All these people you see protesting in the street, holding up their signs and banners and stuff like that, raise the minimum wage and blah, 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 and do this and do that. Yeah. Well, they don't want that. They want either free money, right? Or some, or to just, they basically want free money. They don't want to do anything. Or they want some kind of bureaucratic job. So what I'm saying is you don't have to mow Nancy Pelosi's lawn because there's other people. If you want to if you're want to have a landscaping business, there's a lot of other people's lawns that you can mow if that's your thing, if you want to do that. If you don't want to mow lawns for a living or clean people's bathrooms, there's a hell of a lot of jobs out there now. Go get a different job. But whatever the case may be, don't work for these people. And if you could get a groundswell movement where people would just say, look, don't work for dictators. Don't work for people who are oppressing us. Don't work for people that are destroying society, who are changing the rules of the game, who are doing all of this stuff. In other words, they're the ruling elite. It's like these announcers on TV. They're making $20 million a year, right? Well, they have servants, right? People picking them up, drivers. I told you, they've got private security teams, cooks, meals, housekeepers, housekeeping, right? They've got all these servants waiting on them. They've personal assistants, right? They go to a restaurant and some maitre d' bows down to them, right? Or a concierge. Oh, Miss So-and-so. Oh, sir. Treat them like the scum that they are. They're dictators, right? They're rotten people. There's plenty of people that if you're in the service industry, if that's your thing, some people like to be in the service industry, and there's money to be made at certain levels of the service industry for sure. I've known plenty of people in the service industry over the years. Just don't serve them. And if you want to get out of the service industry, then just start looking online. There's like 20 million frickin' jobs out there now. Nobody wants to work. And they're giving sign-on bonuses everywhere, right? $500 to work at McDonald's. Sign-on bonus. $1,000. I told you, I mentioned this the other day, in my area alone, $1,000, for people to work at various places. $1,500 at one place. And these aren't big corporations. These are jobs that you could just go. You don't need a resume or references, right? This is just jobs, Get a job. Go get the sign-on bonus. Work there. You know, some of them require you to work there for at least 6 months, right? That's like was the McDonald's deal on the one I saw posted. We'll give you $250 in your first paycheck and then $250 in 6 months. So they want you to work there for at least 6 months to get your $500 bonus. But it's $500 extra cash, man. You know? And if you don't want, and then quit in 6 months if you want to. Right? You got some, you got a job. Those jobs are easy now, by the way. You know, because it's all kiosks and there's so much social distancing and weirdness going on. It's like, working in those places, it's like you're hardly working. Right? It's not like you're standing at a cash register dealing with people and all that kind of crap anymore. Half the stuff is people are just like going, pushing a screen, and selecting things themselves and stuff. It's like even working in the, in the Walmarts and supermarkets and stuff. Unless you're stuck on a register, and there's less and less registers now. They're more automated ones. You're basically just going around maybe putting stuff in a shelf or stuff like that. I mean, if you need some extra bucks, to get away, find a place, to surf, have fun. Sometimes you just have to, just bite the bullet and work for 6 months somewhere. I mean, I've done that, over the years. You get yourself in a situation, there's probably a lot of people out there right now that want to make a move and saying, I just want to have fun, man. I just want life is to enjoy, like the subtitle of this show. But they're going like, man, I'm stuck. I can't do it. I'm broke. I can't, Well, it's like, okay, well, you have to you can't be impatient. You have to say, I'm going to need a car. Or if you have a car, maybe a car needs to be repaired. Or I'm going to need gas money. I'm going to need some money to travel, some money to get set up somewhere. Okay. Then go get a job for 6 months. And live on the cheap during that time and just stash away that cash. And you're ready to go, then just say, take this job and shove it. Right? And get in your car, or a couple, if you got a buddy or whatever, the two of you, get in the car with your crap and go find some place. And during that 6 months, use that time when you come home from work. Because you're not going to want to go out and be wasting your paychecks, boozing or whatever, partying. All right? But there'll be plenty of time for that after you escape. You see? Escape from the, these gulag cities. Right? As Trey said in the chat. All right? You just have to be patient. So get one of these jobs where you get, $1,500 or $1,000 sign-on bonus. Do it, work the 6 months, take your cash and hop in the car and go somewhere where you can have fun, where these people aren't bothering you. Just do it that way and spend those nights and those evenings searching and figuring out where to go, what to do, and, and all that kind of stuff. Where's the best places? That's what I've always done. I always planned my moves in advance. At least I did years ago. One time I moved, I was actually sending box. I knew somebody in a place I was going. And I said, hey, can I send you some boxes? You got like a corner in a garage or a corner in your some space where I could just send some boxes. You could just stack them up there when they come UPS or whatever. They said, sure, yeah, no problem. I said, because I'll be there in a couple of months, but I'm going to like just send as And so what you want to do, if you know somebody someplace or you know some people in an area, because you don't even have to worry about a moving truck or anything like that. One of the ideas is, I've done this kind of stuff when I was younger. Excuse me. As you get a paycheck, you have a little extra money, because it's not cheap to ship stuff these days. But you find somebody at your destination where you can ship, and it's safe. It has to be somebody who's a friend or family or somebody like that. But start shipping. Every 2 weeks or so, send a box. Box with one, and things with like clothes and trinkets and things and whatever. And so by the time you're ready to move, you're pretty much, mobile. What I was able to do was I literally moved. This sounds crazy, but I literally moved I was in Pennsylvania and I moved to Florida, and I had planned this out. Such a ridiculous thing. I had luck. I had a relative who had some space to put this stuff. I literally must have sent around 30 boxes. All my clothes, radios, stereo equipment, things, gadgetry, computer stuff, literally everything, I had packed. And I just, the computers were the last thing I shipped. And I got on a train, a sleeper train, with a over-the-shoulder bag and a bigger bag, almost like a duffel bag. The last stuff I was using. And I got off. I took a train down, sleeper train, crashed on the train, got a ride, got to my destination, and I didn't even have a place to stay. So I basically had hotel money, and I went to a motel. I planned this out, man, in advance. That's what I'm saying, So sometimes don't be impatient and think you got to leave today. And so what I did was I basically planned this out over 6 months or more. But, 6 months is a good time. Since they're talking about takes you 6 months to get the cash bonus. Sign-on bonus. But if somebody's willing to give you $500 or $1,000, that's enough money, use your week-to-week money to survive, and to ship some boxes out or do whatever, or get your car fixed or whatever. But if you don't have a car or something like that, it's like when the time is right, you have enough money to, either put a deposit down on an apartment or, pay for a flight or hop a train or whatever, or pay your share and a couple people, you and a friend driving somewhere or whatever, get a hotel room for a week until you can, move into a place. That's what I did. I just got this motel room, then I went to a realtor and found an apartment. And I looked at a couple of places and I found one that was cool. It was only like a couple blocks from the beach. And so I could just walk down to the beach. I didn't have ocean view, but, right? I could walk to the beach. I could walk to the grocery store, walk to a couple of bars were walking distance, beer distributorship. I mean, everything you needed, almost. And, that's how you do it. So it's like, And that's just one way, and there's like dozens of ways, and I'm sure you could think of things in your own mind. That's the whole beauty about being a human being is our consciousness and creativity, as I always talk about. You just got to put some time and think about it and don't get frustrated and stressed out. And if you really put politics behind you and you cancel your cable or satellite, and some of these other idiotic bills, that's the money you put away or save to make your move so that you could go somewhere where you could just get back to having fun. Maybe there's some people out there that never had fun, real fun, like you see in the 60s and the 70s. I mean, we used to just have fun. There's like parties and even when it wasn't parties, work was fun and the people you met, and it was all laughs and it was good times. Right? I mean, you remember the good times and the laughs and you forget the hard times. I mean, that's how the brain works. It's kind of a safety mechanism. It's why you can't, you don't remember pain, right? Until you have it again. You were in pain, but you don't remember it, because if you could remember it, then that'd be a nightmare, right? But yeah, of course you're going to have hard times, struggles, and all kinds of things, heartbreak, and all that other stuff that comes along with life, But generally speaking, you got to take the attitude that life is to enjoy and have fun. It's an experience. I call it a soul experience. You've got all these senses, experience life to the fullest. Use your conscious brain, not your subconscious that's been programmed by the media machine and the educational indoctrination system and the propaganda that's just been spewed at you all, from every angle. But yeah, that's my attitude. It's like I say, I'm almost running out of things to talk about with these shows, but I'm going to keep doing them until, as long as I could come up with different ideas like this. I might start moving into some like, some more spaced out stuff once, because I've given, if you haven't seen some of my videos, I think I've put out given some good advice. And eventually, I'll probably move into things like this.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits.
If I look spaced out, it's because I'm checking the satellite image for an update. And I think... let me see here. I think this might be updated. 22 August. Yeah, let me double check. Well, let me actually. Actually, let me try to bring this up. Goes 16. Is that a -1? Hold on a second. One moment, please. Image of the day, news. No, I do think I have an updated image. Hold on here. I wanted to get back to, I think this is updated. Okay. Yeah. So let's enlarge this a little bit. I mean, this looks a lot like the one previously, but if you notice right now, what's happening is Long Island is completely getting covered, you know, with the clouds. And everything's really being drawn up there in this circular motion. And I think, you know, I think Pennsylvania's going to get something from this because, you know, it's starting to go beyond right into central Pennsylvania, and it's almost heading towards western PA. Yeah. Anyway, that's the state of
The Weather Watch forecast.
pretty crazy, man. See, I always had this vision, you know, and there are places on YouTube, and I'm doing it right now, but it's like, you know, there are always places. My vision was that not just YouTube, but like the internet in general, or even television. I talked about this once before, but I don't have television anymore because they failed. To me, television is a failure, right? Because it's all repetitive. You have all these repetitive news networks that are basically different talking heads basically giving the same story. So why do you have ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS now? Right? You only need one. Right? And they might as well just have PBS. But PBS is now corporate, is part of the corporatocracy, so it's corporate crap. But I mean, you should have just, you know, one public broadcasting station. I mean, news is news, you know? And it should be this kind of stuff, you know, in other words, matter-of-factual things. There should be like, when they give the weather, it should be like, here's the weather without some song and dance and some, you know, some crazy game. Let you see. I mean, to me, this is, I'm just going to keep, I didn't mean to keep plopping this up, but it's like, you know, this is so amazing and interesting. You know, I wish they had the globe version of this. They don't have the latest globe version of that actually shows the sun coming over the, you know, the globe, the horizon and stuff. But still, like I say, I still can't get over, to me, it's fascinating, the lights, you know, the population density, and that basically these things are just street lights, you know. But, you know, there should be like webcams, you know, live views, and there are all that stuff, but you got to go fishing and hunting for it. And I know there's some people out there that bring you different things, and there's guys who have these YouTube weather channels, and they show you stuff, and there's guys who do earthquakes and all that kind of stuff. But the point is, you got to fish around, and each guy gets into his own scene, and they're doing different things or whatever, girl, whoever's doing it. But you don't have this like one-stop shopping kind of thing that's on 24/7 too, anytime you want it. And that's what television should have been and could have been. You know, the idea, you know, especially like DirecTV. Anybody's ever had that? I mean, I had it. That was the last thing I had before I got rid of it. And it was like, you know, they got like 1,000 channels on there, right? 1,000 channels. I mean, it's insane. But most of them are just like repeats and like parts of movie channels or these rental channels or corporate channels. I don't know, you know, it's just weird. It's just like, but if you've ever gone through, you realize there's like 1,000 channels. There's something more than that. So why couldn't they have? And then do you ever see like another thing that like like DirecTV and some of these satellite companies do? I don't know if Comcast has gotten into it or not. They'll have these sports channels like where you'll have like 4 or 6 games on at once. And they'll have like a news thing where there's like, they'll show 4 or 6 news stations. And you could like use your controller to toggle to whenever one, and then you'll hear the audio from that. And then if you click, like enter, then it'll take you right to that. Right? So wouldn't it be neat, if like hot spots of the news, here's what I would do. So like I said, there's so many things that never came. The technology we have, but it's not being used because everything is based upon, some idiot trying to make an extra buck or depriving us of really good content, even though they're making a good buck at it. And so imagine this channel. So, practically everyone has got a fairly large screen TV these days. Okay. In fact, so you split your screen into like 6 of these picture-in-picture type of ideas. And so on one of them would be this, one square on the screen. All right. I want to reduce this. So there'd be one square on the screen that would be the current storm thing, right? Then there might be, let me see if I can find if this other one feels like working. Do I still have this thing? Yeah, here we go. And then you might have another thing. It would be some kind of like gaming thing, right? I'm just like messing around here, see what I've got. Another one might be down here, might be some surfer's report, right? This is my idea of like the channel. Let's see what else I got here. What's this one? Yeah, this could be if someone wanted, this is older, but I mean, this would be, sticking with the climate. I mean, you get the idea what I'm going after here. In other words, a channel where there'd be all these various things, on. Right? I just lost my, that video. I've got that program that when it's off, so it doesn't take the CPU way up. But like, in other words, so you can have a guy being live, and I could shrink myself down. You've seen people do that. But what I'm saying is that people could click, you'd have this like thing, because maybe, and you just would click on whatever you want or use your remote control and toggle from these various things, right? And you can see what was going on at any given time. But that's not how it works. They do it for these sports things, right? Sports channels, and they like these existing news channels, but they're all really telling you the same damn news. No, I would like there should be like a live webcam at the airport at Kabul right now, right? To see what's going on, right? We've got all these troops and forces and government people over there, right? Forget about the opinion and people telling us stories. Why not have a camera there in the tower or something? Because they supposedly have troops have taken control of the airport. So it's like, it's the Taliban isn't getting in there. So why don't they have like a camera that's just there so we could see what's going on live? And this satellite image I have here, why don't they just have, and then they would have that, right? And then why don't they have like an on the ground, like wherever this hurricane's going to hit, like a camera live there, right? This is without people, okay, is what I'm talking about. And then some other hot spots, some different things going on, right? There's fires out in California, right? Some aerial shot or satellite view, instead of this kind of satellite view, like a Google Earth view, but they have, in real time, because they have that kind of stuff. They just pretend they don't. I hate when people talk about that. Oh, the reason it's like, you're not compromising security. We've been reading license plates from satellites since the frickin' 60s or 70s, man. Well, we don't want to show this as that would compromise national security. Come on, man. Everybody knows it. People have admitted it, right? The CIA admitted in the 70s at some congressional hearing or something that they had a thing called a heart attack gun that they could actually point at somebody and give them a heart attack. Right? You ever see that video? I mean, that's no bull. That's 50 years ago. Imagine the crap they have now. They could probably send a signal over your phone, to screw you up. No wonder I've been getting sick so much. Weird things happening. Anyway, 2 takeaways from this show is, 1, they're not utilizing technology at all. In the year 2021, it's embarrassing to see that the potential of the technology we have, how it's not being utilized. All right. And the duplication and the media machine is just full of crap. And you know what? Most of the people on Twitter, Facebook, I don't care about your stupid ass, what you had for dinner and pictures of this, that, the other. And you're back and forth arguing left, right, green, red, blue, Trump, MAGA, versus, moron, dementia, or any of that stuff. Who gives a shit? And you getting off on it. Dopamine hits because you're like, people are retweeting and liking your thing. What kind of life is that? That's not fun. Look at this picture. Those people on the beach, they're having fun. And there's plenty other real life things to have fun besides fucking around with your fingers on a frickin' smartphone, on frickin' Twitter, checking it 1,000 times a day, or Instagram, or whatever the hell you're using. It's a joke technology. It's primitive technology. I freaking invented fucking a version of Twitter back in the 90s myself, because what they're using, it's like basically it's primitive shit. So is Facebook. It's like open source tech, man. It's open source. All they've done is created a proprietary thing, that they copyrighted or patented some kind of thing. But the point is, anybody who ever was messing with code back in the 90s knows that you could have easily, and I've done it, created a thing where people could basically type in text, include a photo, and allow for comments, and allow that thing to scroll down, which is the basis of both Twitter and Facebook. All right. They've just their GUI, graphic user interfaces, are a little bit different. Right? It's like 25-year-old technology. It's a frickin' joke. People are such idiots. And I'm telling you, if you want to have fun, just go on and have fun, man. And and stop serving your masters, right? That's like the hypocrisy of the people in power, right? They talk about all this stuff like they want to be free, right? But they're serving these masters. Don't serve them. Stop serving them. If Nancy Pelosi can't get her toilet cleaned, can't get her lawn mowed, and nobody's willing to drive her to the airport, she'll get the frickin' message. All right? The problem is there's too many people that are the first to be the ones bitching the most about stuff, but they're the first ones to go in line and to serve their masters, slave masters. Right? You're all hypocrites, man. You're hypocrites. Anyway. And you know why I know you're hypocrites? Because you don't go to TonyCaravanLive.com. Nobody's bought a single frickin' thing. Buy something. Support the website. I give you more information here than you get anywhere else. I mean, let's face the facts.
Good morning.
All right, you know, for once in your life, do something, you know, stand up for yourself, for other people. Do something substantial, right? Do something with, have some integrity as a human being.